Hello everybody, the Manadork here, and today we're going to be going over another tier list. This time we're going to be going over some celebrities that I cherry-picked and wanted to discuss for purely arbitrary reasons. Speaking of arbitrary reasons, everybody starts at cringe. For those watching at home, and every future episode, everything's going to be cringe. You start at cringe and you have to work your way up to the top. That's how the rules work. Anyways, let's go ahead and move to our first contestant. We have Cassius Marsh here. I think he played on the Seattle Seahawks. I don't know. I'm not really kind of a football guy, but I do know that he makes a lot of fucking money being in the NFL. And he also runs a card shop, which is also pretty great. All things considered, he probably plays really competitive commander decks. So he's basically a degenerate Magic player, your average degen Magic player, which that already kind of puts you at mid, but because he makes so much money and he runs his own game shop, so that means he's a very busy man. Based, sure, why not? Next up, we have George Costanza, and we're just gonna go ahead, slap him up in based. No, decent, mostly because he's not an interesting Twitter account to follow. But he did put Magic the Gathering and Seinfeld. There's a lot of subliminal product hanging out in the background for like an episode or two. It's like a Magic the Gathering like player set box or whatever. But he is an MTG player, and he did put it in Seinfeld. So you can't really be all that bad. But sorry, not entirely based. Just get better at Twitter, Jason. Next up, we have Dude Weed Lamau, aka Seth Rogen. And, we're going to start. Obviously, Dude Weed Lamau is cringed. What's based is the fact that the image that I'm using here is a playmat that he commissioned from Magic artist Ken Myers Jr., I believe. This playmat right here, same artist. Anyways, he also has a custom card printed by Wizards of the Coast given to him. There's like 40 or so copies of those hanging out in the world. So that's pretty good too. But the whole Dude Weed Lamau kind of like being his shtick for like about 20 years now. It's kind of boring. Next up, we got Valkyrie. She's got you in the pipe 5x5, aka the voice actress Erika Ishii. She's in a bunch of nerdy stuff. She's all over the internet, so I consider her a celebrity by today's standards. And you know what? She plays Magic. She's D&D, all that kind of stuff. I mostly just kind of picked her on here because I love Titanfall too. And, that saves her from being cringe. But honestly, she's not really too much of a champion for Magic the Gathering, at least from what I can tell, other than, being in some content every now and then. But she, doesn't really put it on a pedestal all that much. So as far as outward reach goes, you just get to hang out in the bad tier. Next up, we have JGL here from the Dark Knight Rises and Third Rock from the Sun and some other stuff. He is also another player who got a card made for him by Wizards of the Coast. It's another silver bordered card. So we're already kind of putting you at the mid, but I kind of want to put him up to decent because the episode where everyone found out he was a Magic Gathering player was from that Spellslingers video from like 5 years ago. He has a bunch of old cards, meaning that he's an OG player, probably like Jason Alexander, probably like Seth. Like most of the people on this list might be somewhat of an OG player, but that alone doesn't make you decent. However, having your own custom card and being an OG player and being an all-around, kind of cool guy, and also, that's a funny picture. So we're just going to go ahead and leave him up here in decent. Next up, we got Post Malone. He is the final person in our list who has a custom Magic the Gathering card made of him. It's not completely custom. It's not custom rule text. It is Zur the Enchanter, if I'm not mistaken, and it's called like Post the Enchanter, and I think the flavor text is like part of the lyrics to one of his songs. Anyways, beyond just that, he is also a big advocate for Magic the Gathering, arguably the most outward. Probably up there with Cassius Marsh, tied for being, a pretty big influencer that loves Magic the Gathering and shares his love of it. So for those two reasons, Posty gets to hang out in base, but not only that, but I think he owns arguably the most expensive card, if not the most expensively publicly bought card with that signed Black Lotus for like $800,000, which, Jesus fucking Christ, that's a lot of fucking money. And last and probably least, we have Todd the Vegan, aka Brandon Ruth, aka Superman Returns, aka Gideon Jura in the Netflix Magic the Gathering show that's probably never going to come out. Beyond that, I don't really know what else he has to do with Magic. He might have played the game back when he was a kid, back in the early 90s, or maybe he still plays now. But apart from that, just because of his association with a continually disappointing development of the Magic the Gathering TV show, we're going to leave you here in cringe. It's nothing personal. It's kind of more against Wizards of the Coast more than anything. But hey, you know what? If the show actually does come out, you might go up to mid. If the show is actually good, maybe based. It also kind of depends on your advocacy for Magic the Gathering towards the public. And if you seem to be a big supporter of it in the public eye, you know, you might be based as well. Anyways, that's my tier list. Thank you for watching. If you didn't like it, I don't care. And if you don't like and you don't subscribe, I will come to your house. I will serve you warm spaghetti, but I won't let you eat it. Instead, I'll let it get cold, and then you can eat it. Good?